Hello everybody. And here we go for another show. This is good. This looks good. This looks pretty good. And here we go. Look at the camera. Hey everybody, welcome aboard. Hope you are enjoying your week. We're halfway through. So if you are one of those 9 to 5 or Monday to Friday workers, you're halfway through. And we're going to talk about shortwave radio, of course. So everything looks good here. And nice to have you on board. So listening to CHU on the portable. Was actually listening to Mali 5995 on the SDR with a decent signal. I tuned lower sideband to avoid the interference of 6,000 kilohertz. A lot of signals on the 49 meter band actually. So there's a lot of stuff right now. Let's check out here. Let's try Voice of Vietnam on 7315.
At the reception
Yep.
for the diplomats following the credentials
Voice of Vietnam. Look at that. PL 680.
The leader warmly welcomed them to Vietnam. He expressed his delight at the growing relations between Vietnam and the country.
7315. Voice of Vietnam, really strong.
Mr. Chow expressed his belief
That's really cool.
that the diplomats were successfully completing
And
the task,
let's
pledging
just
that Vietnam will create optimal conditions for them during their work term in the
let's try
country.
4477 was last time, right? 4477.
By improving the performance of state-owned enterprises as SOEs. Reports at the conference highlighted positive results from state capital investment from SOEs in accreditation. 163 SOEs have been
Not hearing that
since 2016.
Morse code tonight.
$5.4 billion has been dispersed.
So hey everybody, welcome aboard. So, PL680, that is on the MLA30 loop. My RSP1A is on the W6LVP loop. Radio Romania on 602. Let's try that. 6040, sorry. Radio Romania 6040, really good. China Radio 6020, pretty good. So quite a few things to listen to right now. 93, 95, WRMI. And the noise. 7781. It's in some unknown language. That looks like Radio Prague in Czech language. So a few little things to listen to actually tonight. Here the 49 meter band is full of signals on the SDR. So welcome aboard everybody. We are on the Wednesday edition of the live show. This is a show about radio. We are live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and we talk about shortwave radio. Today the topic will be portable receivers, and we'll also talk about antenna possibilities for portable receivers. We'll kind of mix that in with the today's of course programming. I've got some choice of portables here, as you see, taken from the shelf of radios, and hope you enjoy today's show. My name is Gilles, located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. We are here twice a week, exceptionally this week, because I have a little announcement with you guys. So we are here twice a week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 0 UTC. Friday, usually 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. 20 UTC this Friday. I am sorry, but I will not be live for a simple reason. I have a supper, so I'm going to the restaurant with my nephews, and then we're going to a Montreal Alouette game, which is Canadian football. So I won't be home Friday, starting early afternoon, and so I won't be here for live shows. Exceptionally, we'll be back next Friday as usual in the regular schedules. So sorry about that, guys, but sometimes it's fun to do something out of the ordinary. I'll have a nice Friday evening with my nephews and watching a football game, eating out at the restaurant, and possibly maybe having a few beers after. So Friday, no shows. I'll repeat it a few times to make sure that everybody understands that this Friday I'll be off. I'll have a little day of vacation. But we are on tonight, so hope that you enjoy the show for sure. So, Danny, Shortwave Radio DX, nice to have you on board from Yonkers, New York. Here, the rain has just started about, I'd say about an hour ago. And we're supposed to have a lot of rain and a lot of wind. So it's going to be radio day tomorrow for sure and video day for sure. Bobby Burgess in Morgan City, Louisiana, nice to have you here. We have Rufus Newt, nice to have you on board from the wet and cold Laurentian Valley, Ontario. Pizza slices, cool. I had pasta with rosé sauce and Parmesan cheese, so it was okay. Jerry DX, nice to have you on board, my friend. WF7I Homebrew, nice to have you here from Virginia. Technical Todd, nice to have you here, my friend. What else do we have? Milroy Peter, nice to have you here. And you should have quite an interesting selection. So 49 meters, 6 megahertz. That's quite a lot of stuff. 7 megahertz also. I showed a few examples here. Brent, nice to have you on board from Brockville, Ontario, Canada. Jeff Barrett, nice to have you here. Michael Satterfield, nice to have you on board. Fastload, nice to have you on board. WF7I Homebrew, congrats on the switch. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I've already tested it. So now it's really fast switching between one antenna and the other. So right now, I only have the W6 LVP loop on the switch because I've traded in the MLA30 for the portable receivers here. But we'll be testing out, we'll be able to test out, sloper versus loop and loop versus loop, a W6 LVP versus MLA30 loop. So really nice switch actually. So the guy that has sent me that is, you guys see him in the chat room from time to time. His handle is Morrison AV. So he has graciously asked me for my postal address to send me that nice little switch. So I really want to thank him because it really is cool. Rodolfo65, nice to have you here from New York City. What else do we have? Milroy Peter, yep, the MLA30 on the, but just an example. So, I was just talking about receiving stations. So, look, just telescopic, okay? Can I receive some of the stations I just talked about? Well, let's try Vietnam 7315. So this is telescopic indoors. It's not strong because there's a lot of noise here, but it's there. If I would go into kitchen, this would actually be listenable. Romania 6040. It's a little weak. This one is in the noise, I gotta say. China radio is really good. 6020. So, it makes a difference. You can see a really, really big difference. I mean, if I just look at Romania, okay? Romania, telescopic. Romania, loop antenna. That is a big difference. Honestly, makes a whole world of difference in reception, even on a portable. So, you know, Vietnam, that wasn't the noise, is now clear. So, you know, yeah, there is a difference between the loop outdoors and just using telescopic. So, you know, I think it's a nice add-on to get more stations for sure. So Milroy Peter ordered his MLA30, should be here this week. Cool. You'll see a big difference. Really nice to have you here. What else do we have? As Fastload says, most radios nowadays, big chunk, the big majority of what is sold is actually portable receivers today. Tabletops are slowly getting off the market, especially for receivers. There's a lot of tabletops in transceivers, but receivers, less and less choice, as less and less people are probably purchasing these. And if you look at ICOM that decided to retire earlier this year, the ICOM SCR75, I think it shows you that the receiver market is kind of a little on the rough side. Prasad Asoldekar, nice to have you here from India. Rifleman 36, what is your pick of the litter of your group of portables? So in the portables that I got here, okay, honestly, if you have one to buy, get the XH Data D808. This is an amazing radio. This is definitely, right now for 2019, I would say this is my favorite. It has single sideband. It's a full general coverage receiver, long wave, medium wave, short wave, all the way up to 30 megahertz. As an antenna input, and comes with a piece of wire that you have with it. Has a tremendously nice set of bandwidths to choose from on AM and on single sideband, and it actually is very nice. It has a few quirks. It's a DSP based radio, so the chip, which is a silicon integrated 47-3X, one of the generation there, 34, 35. It makes it sound a little weird, and the AGC is kind of a little weird, but it's still one of my, I would say, the best for portables. Also, I would say that the other maybe negative, if you have a lot of very strong FM station, there are some FM breakthrough on this radio a little bit, but it's very small because I have radios that have FM breakthrough much worse than this one. It's there, but it's, you know, not as worse as others. It's interesting because on the loop, I've noticed that I don't have FM breakthrough, which kind of tells me maybe because the loop isn't really good at receiving FM at such high frequencies. It's really made for shortwave. So XH Data D808. So if you don't want to spend too much without SSB, either a Texan, but the Radio Wow R108 is also a nice little choice for something without SSB. Honestly, works pretty nice, and it's a full general coverage receiver also. Shelly Sykes, nice to have you on board, my friend from Pennsylvania. Milroy Peter says, I just got a Mint Sanjian ATS 909. So, on eBay. And not even a scratch. The guy never even used it. I am so lucky it came in the mail today. Cool. So it's the same as the Radio Shack DX 398. That radio, the ATS 909, and the MLA 30 loop that you're going to get are going to make an amazing pair. You're going to really have a lot of fun with your radio. It works great with the loop, and you'll have great reception. The problem will be to actually, plug the loop to it. You know, I made my own cable quickly here just by cutting a couple of cables. So you see here, it's still not finalized. I will actually solder the wire, put a shielding around it here, and of course, I mean my own little cable here with the for the MLA30. So this one, the black cable here, at the other end has a SMA connector for the box of the MLA30, and I made the makeshift here myself. So you can, you know, if you don't find any adapters, you can make your own quite easily actually. So and it works great, really works great. So because I haven't seen adapters, honestly. Rifleman, you know what? Football family over radio. Thank you, Brent. We'll have a great time on Friday. Rick Sada, nice to have you here, my friend. Hey, Glenn, nice to have you on board from Toronto. Dave, nice to have you here from Niagara, Ontario. What else do we have? Rufus Newt, anytime you want. And always game against Tiger Cats, I'll buy the tickets. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board from a very windy Cape Cod, Massachusetts. That's coming up our way. The rain has started about an hour ago, and we're supposed to have lots of rain and lots of wind. So it's gonna be a rough one. Randy in Riverside, California, nice to have you on board. What beer tonight? I got Fin du Monde beer, so I'm just gonna show you here. This is what I got in beer tonight. I actually bought a 6-pack of Fin du Monde. So this is what we are drinking tonight. Ron Deming, nice to have you on board from rainy Oregon coast. He's got a Texan PL 880, nice radio, cool. Ham Extra, nice to have you here watching your stream and playing with the new ICOM 7300. Life is good. Cheers, man. Cool. That's nice radio, nice transceiver. Gunner66, nice to have you on board from Saskatchewan, home of the Rough Riders. Nice to have you here. R. Walker, nice to have you on board in Portland, Oregon, picking up Gander Radio, air traffic strong on 8891. Let's use the portable here, and let's try that. 8891. Are we receiving anything? Let's put in a single sideband. And let's see if we're getting some comms here. If we don't, we're going to go down to the 5 megahertz. A little further west, so maybe that one is propagating better for you. William Helms, nice to have you here from Florida. R. Walker has an MLA30, cool. Popular loop antenna, it's a pretty amazing antenna, I gotta say. Milroy Peter, what lightning arrestor works good with the MLA30? Well, the loop itself is not really meant to be used with one. And, you know, disconnect the antenna when you just aren't, when you aren't using it and when thunderstorms come through. But honestly, there's nothing that's going to really protect your MLA30 of anything that is a very close hit. You know, so don't go overly crazy about it. Halibut 1, good evening. Nice to have you on board in wet and rainy New Jersey. It seems to be raining everywhere. Joe, nice to have you here. Heavy rain in New York. No baseball today. So it's raining everywhere. Trad Edwards, nice to have you here. Nope, not yet. No, I'm soon to be doing my ham course and everything. I'm trying to find some time. Danny Shortwave Radio DX finally receives MLA30 now. Time to mount the loops on his backyard and then mount the MFJ 1886 nearby. That will be fun. I want to see those. I want to see what you think of the MLA30 versus the MFJ 1886. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Frank V, nice to have you here from the New York State. Radio Romania 6040 kilohertz, very clear tonight. Cool. Gertan Dembele, nice to have you here from Holland. Pretty cool. What's nice with the MLA30 is just how amazing, for such a small price, is the antenna. Steve in Australia, nice to have you on board. I'd like to thank you for your review of the MLA30. I bought one and it is amazing. Totally agree. I'm blown away by that antenna. That is really such a cheap price and it's just so amazing. Really amazing. Miller Peter, would an MFJ 1026 noise canceling work with the MLA30? You know, those noise canceling things, I've not seen a lot of people really super happy with them. I don't know if it would help or not, for sure. Joe Schmo, nice to have you on board. Says XH data not a buy, mute on frequency change. Yeah, of course, if that drives you nuts, that's probably one of the downers of the XH data, muting on the tuning. But you know what? I got kind of used to it after a while, because so many receivers have that darn mute thing. You know, like the Texan PL680 doesn't have mute. My Grinding G5 doesn't have mute. But overall, a lot of the receivers have mute, unfortunately, when you start tuning around. But I've kind of, I don't know, it's, you know, I've gone through it. I mean, yeah, you know, when you change. But the mute is very, very fast. So if you go at a certain speed, which would be a normal speed of tuning around, it isn't that bad. I've seen some that are worse than that. Let's try 5616. See if we get some communications here. Robert Shine, don't loops act like a magnetic wave device like a transformer? It actually uses the magnetic aspect of a radio wave for receiving. So that's one of the reasons why it actually does get less noise than a regular, say a wire antenna, for example. So that, of course, is something that it's a different way of receiving for sure. R. Walker says shortwave info lists voice of the announced transmitter site as WHRI. Yep, it is. It's from WHRI on 7315. Radio Romania is direct on 6040. China on 6020 is from Albania transmitter. Unpopcom, nice to have you on board from South Central Pennsylvania. Yeah, Joe Schmo, but the adapter we need here is not a UHF to SMA. The PL259 to SMA, I've got 4 of them that I received yesterday. And that's what I'm using with the antenna switch. But here we are talking about portable receivers that are actually using a 1/8 jack, like an audio jack. So that is difficult to find. The only real adapter style that I could find was one that was converting SMA to PL259 to PL259 to BNC. It was a very weird thing. But an adapter itself that does that, I have not seen and not found any. Jeff Barrett says this Ascension ATS 818 or the DX390 really likes the MLA30. But 3.5, I've went through Joe Schmo a lot of places on eBay and I've seen none. Samoran Man, nice to have you on board from Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Fishkoff, nice to have you on board. Good evening. Have you ever gotten rid of a radio that you regret and haven't been able to get one back? Several of them. I have been I have one that I should not have left was the DX Realistic DX302. Not because it's a great receiver, it's actually a somewhat crappy radio, honestly. When I compare it to what we have today, especially in the time when all the conditions of very strong signals, that radio overloaded so easily that it rendered shortwave listening a little bit of a miserable thing. And I really noticed when I got the Kenwood R5000 actually. But still, it's a good, nice, big-looking tabletop receiver from Radio Shack. One that I should not, two others that I should not have let go. The three others. So I've let go of several actually over time. The Panasonic RFB300, which was the big story about it is it was my dad's radio. So when I moved with the radio, I wanted to give it back to my dad because it was his radio and didn't have a radio. He lived alone and didn't have a radio where he was, so I thought I'm going to bring it back to him. And finally, only like a month after, he moved out of town and the radio got lost in the moving. So when I heard that the radio got lost in the moving because he lost some stuff, I immediately thought, no man, I should have kept the radio. I should have kept that radio. I had an Panasonic RFB 2800 that I departed. I sold it at a garage sale for like 75 bucks. Should have kept that. And the Grundig Yacht Boy 400 portable that I sold to my uncle. That was a TV radio repair guy. And I had sold him for, I don't know, I think I sold him for like $80. And he died of cancer about 6 months later. And I should not have sold the radio. But he found it nice and he wanted to have it, and he was home one night and it's like, okay, and I think he's the one that said, oh, if I give you 80 bucks for it, and it's like, okay, here, I got other radios, but I should not have departed. So several radios I should have kept over time, but Mika Dalmich, nice to have you here from calm, sunny Sherwood Park, Alberta. So Robert Shine, nice to have you on board from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, from N3VXT. Jeff, KD5QDO, nice to have you on board from Beaumont, Texas. Finally getting some cool weather down here. Cool. That helps. You can go outside and breathe. Nice to have you on board. Ciro Saito, nice to have you here from Sao Paulo, Brazil. GERF, nice to have you on board from Colorado. We have 7i Homebrew says, just got the $60 Nano VNA for antenna and a RF device analysis. Normally VNAs cost thousands of dollars. This one has gotten good reviews and should be great for some basic antenna and filter work. Ron Deming, logging Gander as well on 8891. Raining in Holland, says good time. Mark Krupsak, nice to have you here, K6MAK. And thank you very much for the comment about the antenna. Robert Shine just bought an MLA30, waiting for it to arrive. Cool. Casper Peterson, nice to have you on board, my friend. Joseph, nice to have you here from Tampa, Florida. Page Master, nice to have you here from Moore, Oklahoma. Simoranman says, have you experienced any signal overload on the MLA30 or W6 LVP loops? So if we're talking on portables, I suspect that there's kind of a higher background noise a little bit due to some form of overloading of the receivers with that antenna. On the other receivers that I have here, I've not really seen any overloading problem. Um, when I was scared on the MLA30, because the W6LVP loop I have has two filters on it. It has a filter to block medium wave and a filter to block FM. It was recommended by Larry that makes the antenna because he was looking at the chart and noticed that there was very strong AM FM stations in Montreal. So he said maybe the loop will overload. So on the W6LVP loop, really the reception is stuck between 160 meters, 1.8 to 30 megahertz, or a little bit above 30 megahertz. So no overloading there. The MLA30, I was scared because it doesn't have any filters. I don't need any filters. It doesn't overload, and I've actually been experiencing some pretty good reception, honestly. John Artonio, nice to have you here from Philippines. On a realistic radio, courtesy of an American pen pal years ago. Right side behind you, enjoyed shortwave listening with that patrolman. Haha! The patrolman's shortwave 60. There were several variants that look alike. The shortwave 60 was one. There was quite a few that had shortwave on them. So nice to have you on board from the Philippines. Jeff Barrett says the Sony ICF shortwave 7600 JR is one of my favorite radios, but in my opinion the soft mute is the worst in it. I did the LED mod, but I'm not techie enough to do the mute mod. Aha. Pagemaster, I noticed that one thing about the MLA30 amplifier, the waterfall on the SDR that play RSP1A seems to be brighter and slightly deeper in color. In addition, it does drop the noise level a bit. Yeah, but it changes. You know, I see it. I was testing the switch this afternoon that I received, the antenna switch, and I was immediately noticing a difference in the overall noise, because you could see that there was immediately a change in the waterfall and you know, the colors in the waterfall, and you would see, wow, okay, there is a difference. Really this is nice, and I'll be making videos of Battle of the Loops, of course, with the antenna switch, which is going to be even better because now there's not going to be any interruptions. I'll be switching from one to the other, and I'll be commenting like I did with the other videos. And also I'll be testing out something. Maybe I'll do some tomorrow. I am supposed to receive a new microphone tomorrow, so I will be a lot more professional. I'll have a professional microphone with a like this lamp with a arm, so that I can do podcasts, do my YouTube videos. I'm tired of headsets. I'm tired. I distinctly hear certain types of hums and noises within these headsets and some of the microphones here. I wanted something that was filtered, that was a lot better, and so I just received an email before the show saying that the tracking is told me that I'll receive that tomorrow. So I'll be testing that for sure with my beautiful voice and the microphones. So that's going to be nice, and I might take that time to also use that microphone to do these loop tests. Kevin Miles, nice to have you on board. How does the XH D808 compare to Ethan Satellite Grundig Edition? I would say they are probably close. I know that the Satellite Grundig Edition is very, very well. Everybody that has one really likes it. I don't and have not done tests myself, so I can't totally say, but I would say they probably do compare very well one to each other. I would like, you know, I would need a Satellite Grundig Edition to check that out. So what else do we have here? Let's go down. Scott Reed, nice to have you on board. Do you know of any radio out of Indonesia? Girlfriend here from there. Indonesia, Let me just check out here. Indonesia is, I believe, still on shortwave with their service, but I haven't heard Indonesia in ages on shortwave. Indonesia, yeah, Voice of Indonesia broadcasts on shortwave. So you got Voice of Indonesia that broadcasts on the 60-meter band. They do have, let me check the frequencies here. They had a, yeah, they've really, the service is a lot smaller now. And they typically are only in the two frequencies used by Indonesia throughout the day is 3325 and 4750. So it's probably very local in the different languages throughout the day. Let me check here. Would there be a frequency that would be suitable for? I would say that the 10 to 11 hours UTC might be one on 4750. That's in English. 11 to 12, 3325, 4750. Not impossible. 12 to 13 also. So early morning North America. But they don't have their big service like they used to have before. That's when I used to listen to them. So they're still on, but they're it's probably a very difficult catch here in North America, at least. Jeff Barrett says, I got a SDA PL259B and CRCA 20.5. Had all of these for different reasons. Were great. Samoran Man, how long have you been in shortwave listening and shortwave DX? Just curious. This year, 2019, marks my official entry into a passion that is radio and DXing, shortwave listening, and it marks 37 years, which makes me kind of old. Not that old, but 37 years into it. I started in August of '82, really seriously with this realistic DX 100 here in the back, and been off and on sometimes through the years, but been pretty active over the years still. Robert Shine, man, those little Riyadh Boy 400, great solid radios. Yep, absolutely. GRF says many years ago for $100 I sold a working Collins R390 receiver. I've seen them sell for $1,000 or more. It was a great radio. Yeah. So Technical Todd, send me a picture of, okay, your SMA adapter. Let's check it out. Made from base of Baofeng antenna and audio plug. Okay, did you put a picture with it? I see your text, but I don't see any pictures or anything with it, Todd. Did you forget to just put the picture with it? Any chance? Because I don't see any pictures. It's just the text on my phone. Okay, I'll check that out, Joe Schmo. I'll check that out. Bob Geis, nice to have you here, Bob, from Long Beach, New York. VE3KRP, nice to have you here. Purchased an MLA30 loop. Plan is to change the loop and experiment. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's easy for that, and why not? It's kind of fun. Like it's spelled. Jerf? Gerf? Gerf? Frank V says, I've been using my Realistic DX380 since the 90s. It's the only one I have. Great reliable service. Stations from all over the world right now using a long piece of wire in backyard. Cool. Cool. The Expeditions, nice to have you on board from rainy Ottawa. They're going to need an adapter too to use the MLA30 on the ICOM, but it usually will have the Alpha Delta on it. Yeah, those are easy. I found that's what I received this week. MLA30 to the PL259 connectors. Shall I bought a few SMA mail to SO239 mail cables from China when I used my LNA with my DIY copper tube active. So you can use your existing cables. Yep. Well, I have those already that I received this week. James Farley, nice to have you on board from Old Bridge, New Jersey. Jeff Barrett, I'm having problem with my RTL SDR and the MLA30 with strong shortwave stations bleeding on other stations. And is it, do you plug in the MLA30 on other devices? Have you played with the RTL SDR RF gain? Maybe it's set too high. Maybe the RTL SDR's RF gain and the software is set too high. Kevin Wood, nice to have you here from Nova Scotia. Rodrigo Galter, nice to have you here. Good night listening shortwaves in Brazil. You got the XH Data D808 with DZ Ultimate Magnetic Loop Antenna. Brent, the antenna switch that I got is a Alpha Delta Delta 2 antenna switch. It's kind of hard right now to kind of show you guys because of the positioning of the switch right now. But it's an Alpha Delta. It's Delta 2. The model is a Delta 2, which is a manual switch for 2 antennas, a mechanical switch. And I was looking at the reviews. It's actually rated really, really. It's really, really well rated for really like low loss of signal. I know a few people have done it, Dave, powering their MLA30 with the bias T from the SDR Play. I know a few people are. Get the RSP1A with the built-in filters for AM and FM broadcast. The original RSP1 did not have the filtering. Yeah, well, the RSP1 I think is not sold anymore. I think it's a product that they don't deliver anymore. It's the RSP1A is the one that actually replaces the RSP1. Yeah, 37 in shortwave years, Rodolfo. No, really, Peter. Wow, 37 years. Wait. Keep going. More new receivers to come. Yep. Oh, more receivers. Absolutely. What else do we have? Miki Dalmich says, Voice of Indonesia heard here sporadically on 3325 in the early local morning, 12 to 14. Better as the days get shorter, not as easy catch, even in a quiet location and antennas. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, around 12 UT must be the best time. And yeah, 3325, and you know it was what, 4750. WF7I says, I've also started in about 1982. So you're about 3 years older than I, same age as my sister. My first shortwave radio was my dad's Ross. What's that? Let's check that out. Oh, that's nice. Nice, nice old portable. It has the feel of the time, with all the chrome fronts. You know, like chrome fronts, just like this one. like a chrome finish if you want. Really nice. Robert, that's correct on my name. No problem, Garth. The DSP filter is used on my Casper. My DSP filter is used on my ICOM, but because it is, I use the RSP1A pretty much. The RSP1A is fed into a pair of Logitech computer speakers that have a pretty good sound. And I kind of not really need any of the bells or whistles of the DSP because the SDR Uno software has its own DSP from within the computer and has pretty much everything I need. Where I could maybe need it is maybe to hook up some of the portables on, to amplify the output and maybe have a better speaker. That could be a use though. That could be something I could check for. Technical Todd. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, this time the picture went through. So, okay. I don't see it totally, but okay, kind of a U-type connector here. So this is what it looks like. So cool. Why not? It's pretty nice. You know, you could just buy, because here I did that, but you could just buy one of those 1/8 adapters that are meant to, you just like you unscrew I got one somewhere. You unscrew the casing, you pass the cable, you solder the cables inside, screw it back, and you've got the connector directly on the cable. That would be even better than what I did here. And those can be had for like, not even $1. William Helm says, so star vegetable juicer motor. You're making antennas out of everything, William. The ML830 is there's no filtering really, Robert Shine. It is direct receive with an amplifier, low noise amplifier in it, and it's kind of tuned to try to tune in the from 1 kilohertz to 30 megahertz. Joey D, nice to have you on board. What is a system artifact on a shortwave frequency? I didn't see any clear explanation online anywhere. What do you mean by a system artifact? Exactly, Joe. Can you explain it in another way? So WF7i, Zenith Transoceanic. Yeah, these are nice. These are nice. Samaran Man says, I've been into shortwave about as long as you. I think I know you. A friend of mine back in Colorado would tape spawn with Richard and Alain back in the 1980s. I haven't been I was active as a shortwave listener, but I wasn't doing anything with, I joined clubs. I guess, my first club that I joined was there was a French language club here in Quebec called the Club en Côte du Québec. That, I think, is the first club I joined. Then I joined CIDX late 80s, early 90s for the first time. I wouldn't participate much. I would not send out. I would send logs. I remember sending logs. some from time to time in the for the log column. I would not really participate much in any of the online activities or the activities around Montreal, for example, when the club meetings and stuff like that. I'm a very different person today. You know, I was kind of in my little bubble and very shy at the time, and so you could see how shy I am. Okay, I'll have a sip of beer. But incredibly enough, I was very shy back then. And so I was not, I didn't feel right going to any events and meeting other radio listeners. It was really, really late that I started kind of, actually, you know, I changed as a person due to some work that I did. But I guess what really opened up also I would say what opened up the being more of an open guy, being happy to go to events and stuff, really goes a lot with YouTube, honestly, because I started making videos and started seeing people like them, and then started, you know, live shows several years ago, and it kind of put me in the spot, you know. I'm in the limelight, and that kind of opened up a different aspect of a different side of me that wasn't really you know there before. Matthew Wells, nice to have you here. Circuitous Vibes, nice to have you here from Tucson, Arizona. What are the advantages of digital tuner? Okay, just try to. Okay, over analog tuner, I currently have a Gurning G 2008 Porsche design. Would like analog tuner thoughts. A digital, yeah. Well, you're better off with a digital tuner because a digital tuner is more stable and often is more precise in its tuning. Where analog tuners, you know, an example of analog, I don't have one here. I don't have one, but I have a few radios that use, so they're have a digital readout, but have an analog tuning. The digital readout in reality is a frequency counter, and they are always a little off. Analog tuners might drift rather than, you know, where digital tuners today are pretty stable. I mean, we can't, you know, we honestly, I haven't seen a radio, a modern radio that is digital with digital PLL tuner drift anymore. I mean, for sure there is a drift going on. So, you know, when you look at the specs, it tells you there's a small drift, but it's so small that it's not noticeable really. So, you know. Yeah, Samuranman, I remember listening to Voice of Indonesia on 31 meters. One of the frequencies that was making it quite easily here in Montreal was 9525. 9525. Gunner66 says, what was your most memorable catch in your years of DXing? There were several amazing catches that over the years that I remember. Some go with some of the QSLs I got, like one that I really enjoyed was the 4VEH station out of IET. There was some of the catches that were nicer were when there was this Radio St. Helena Day. St. Helena Island, which is in the South Atlantic Ocean, would have a 1 day a year where they would actually put on the air their AM station there on shortwave for a day, and it was called Radio St. Helena Day, and on 11092.5 kilohertz upper sideband. That was a lot of fun. These were memorable times. Some of the catches I would, some were easier, some were just like fun. I remember one of the fun things I would do, and I don't know if any of you guys out there did that in the time, when the space shuttle would have missions. There was WA3NAN, I believe, was the station from the Goddard Space Flight Center that would rebroadcast the shuttle audio from NASA to shuttle communications on several amateur bands. And I remember impressing a lot of people that would come over and they would say, "What's that?" And I would say, "Well, that's the space shuttle you're hearing." And there was a rebroadcast. Those were really memorable times. Station that I caught once, clearly enough in English to listen to, never ever did receive it again in my 37 years, was at the time it was Radio Ulaanbaatar, which I believe now is called Voice of Mongolia. That still is on shortwave. But I received it at the time it was Radio Ulaanbaatar, and I received that once. Never did again. And even that one was a rough one. I mean, I could understand some of the programming. I remember it was in English. Never did receive it again. So some of these are, and there's, if I would start thinking a lot more and look at my QSL book, I'm sure there would be tons of amazing things that I've received over the years that I would actually remember as really memorable of reception, honestly. Robert Shine, has there been any new movements in small SDR devices? I have a Play, also a Blog V3, which I like, but anything really cutting edge? Well, there's more advanced stuff that are much more expensive that you can look at. I think it's something that will continue to evolve anyways, and have more and more. We'll have more stuff happening in that thing for sure. So Radio was. Nice to have you here. On my MLA30, replace the wire loop with 1/4 inch by 10 feet copper tubing. Loop is now 39-inch diameter. And for the overloading of the RTL SDR, yeah, I guess the it's just that the RF is too high, the gain's too high. Gerald Cricket, nice to have you here, Gerald. Pagemaster, weirdest catch on shortwave was back in 1987 on a JVC boombox, and shortwave was a call sign jack plug. It was on the frequency of 8992. Started listening to shortwave in 1980, Gerald. Cool. Danielle Vazel, nice to have you here. N8WJZ from Northeast Ohio. Cool and windy. Pretty cool here too. It's 11 Celsius right now. Pagemaster started listening to shortwave back in 82 with his brother's Patrolman SW60. So, which is that radio right here. M. Phillips 369, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Sky King, do not answer. Yeah, that is one we hear quite often, actually. Brent, anyone start DXing using a realistic DX160? I believe Sheldon Harvey, that was his first receiver, the realistic DX160. Nice analog. R. Walker, would you consider the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery an upgrade over the RSP1A? I can't answer that question. Anybody would have an answer to that question? I can't say. R. Walker. Rufus Newt, 5 Celsius over there. Wow, cool. Circuitous Vibes, thanks for your insights on digital tuners. I don't like the grinding Porsche because it jumps by 5s. So like 6,000. Okay. And that is Circuitous Vibe, not a problem of a digital tuner. It's a problem of that radio simply, they've set the steps to 5 kilohertz. A lot of radios had that fixed 5 kilohertz steps. Now, that also means that that Porsche, Grundig Porsche edition probably tunes in only the international broadcast band. So you're not, honestly, you're not missing out much. And the filters are probably wide enough anyways that whatever is a little off, you're getting anyways. But I do get the drift that it is annoying. I'd rather have also a radio that tunes in 1 kilohertz increments rather than 5. So pretty amazing. V3KRP says, I feel old, almost 50 years for me. Started on a Sanyo multiband radio. Wow. Oh, you're not missing really much. You would be missing if that radio would tune in to two different the amateur bands, stuff like that. Now you would need more precise, but on the international broadcast band, you're not really missing anything, honestly. Trimbelli, Mr. Bell, nice to have you on board. We're mostly going to talk today because we do have subjects on Wednesdays. Of course, we will tune if anybody's listening to anything special. I'm looking here. I see that I'm seeing the 80 meter band on my RSP1A. Rufus News listening to 602 on a realistic SX190. So I wanted to talk a little bit today. I'm just going to stop since I've finally reached the chat room about portable radios, portable receivers. That's pretty much what today we have. And here's an interesting selection of older and new shortwave receivers. So, of course, most of what people buy today is portable radio. It's what is the most popular for several reasons. They are the least expensive most of the times. There's a big choice. There's a big selection of shortwave radios out there. You might not think so because, when you go to the corner store, where maybe before that electronic store sold, 4 or 5 different models of shortwave radios, you're like, oh yeah, there's no more shortwave radios, so I guess there's no more shortwave radios to be sold. Well, on the contrary, there's a big selection of receivers. It has shifted to different manufacturers, though. In the 80s, you would buy Panasonics or Sonys, Grundigs. There would be those portable radios. Today, Panasonic is not in, it's in the market of shortwave, but, it sells like, I think there's 1 model or 2. There are analog. It's not the Panasonic we used to know. Sony's off completely. They decided last year to end the shortwave radio market. It was probably not really selling that many shortwave radios anyway. And it's concentrating on something else. PlayStation is more interesting than shortwave for Sony probably. Grundig, you will find Grundig branded radios, but they're not made by Grundig anymore. That Grundig brand is just a name. It's not made by Grundig anymore. It's often under the name of Ethon, that I believe is a Turkish brand. It's a very complex thing. It was sold and resold, and it was like, so they bought the Grundig name. So sometimes they'll have Grundig branded receivers, sometimes Ethan branded receivers, sometimes a mix of both. So you'll have an Ethon, like this one, Ethon Traveler 3, but it will say at the top Grundig edition. I don't know if you guys can read that. So you know, it's one of those weird things. But and so the problem there is that Ethon receivers in general are not too bad, but they're not always that great. It depends on the models. The big brands that are selling shortwave. You guys in the US know that there's C-Crane that sells some shortwave receivers, like the Skywave SSB and stuff like that. They look like pretty good radios. They're a little expensive, but seem to be good performers overall. One of the biggest name right now actually is Texan, T-E-C-S-U-N, that makes receivers like this one, for example, the Texan PL680, the Texan PL380, which is a great entry-level radio, by the way, still sold. Some of the newer names that are kind of interesting, and we're not really sure who makes them. Some people say it's Texan, but I'm not sure, because usually when Texan makes a receiver with another brand, they always have one that looks alike. I haven't seen anything look like the XH Data in any other naming brand. So XH Data D808 is amazing. But then again, be careful, because the XH Data brand, the D808 is an amazing radio. But I got, you know, a D38 here, which is the crappiest thing you can buy. And there's a lot of crappy stuff from XH Data. Same for RadioWow. This is, you know, I purchased to test. I'm very pleasantly surprised. RadioWow R108. But these are not usual brands that we see all the time. So you got to be careful, you know. There's all sorts of things. There's Tivdio. You know, if you buy junk, you want to buy a Tivdio. You know, this is the cheapest thing that does the most amount of things at the same time I've ever seen. So it's not even 20 bucks. And it has an entry keypad, it has MP3 player, it has a recorder, it tunes, you know, shortwave, but it's an overall, you know, hit or miss. You know, there seems to be quality control problems. You got DXing, D-E-G-E-N, that also makes some. I got a DXing DE1103. That is an amazing radio. You have Sangean that still makes a few models of shortwave receivers, like the Sangean ETS 505, 606. They are interesting. There's the Sangean 909X that is a modernized version of the 909. So this one is branded Radio Shack, but it's this is a Sangean 909 that was made by Sangean for Radio Shack, that put its own brand on it. This is the original 909. The newer 909X looks very modern, but overall seems to perform pretty much the same. So what are the features to look in a shortwave radio when you buy a portable? You know, a lot of people will go with the price, of course. Price is a very, very important factor for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to pay too much for a radio. Not paying too much, you know, when we buy things in life, usually the price also goes with the performance. There are exceptions to the rule, you know, the MLA30 loop antenna, for example, 10 times less than a Walbrook or a W6 LVP loop, but as good a performance. You will, of course, want to ask yourself what you're going to listen to. Do you want to listen to international broadcasts and that's it? Or do you want to listen to amateur radio signals and utility signals? Then you got two types of sets. You'll have the set that is a AM only set that has, you know, shortwave bands and listens to international broadcast bands pretty much only because it doesn't have single sideband on it. And you'll have receivers with single sideband that opens up a new world. It opens up the world of listening to amateur radio signals. It opens up the world of listening to utility signals, which is a lot of fun. So you might, you know, think, what do you want to listen to? You might go to a single sideband capable receiver if you are thinking about that. And there are, of course, as many crappy radios out there that are also that there are good radios. So you got to choose wisely on some of the models and what you'll want also at the same time. Let's go down a little bit here. Go down here. Dave Todd. My first radio was actually a Fillmore crystal radio and copper long wire out in my bedroom window. Cool. Albert Shine has his first was a S120 Heath kit. Tim Bally, Mr. Bell says, I have a realistic DX440, Radio Shack DX397, Grundig Yachtboy 400. Used to have a Grundig G3, but keypad was super faulty. Got a couple other models I can't remember the name of. Cool. Yeah, Panasonic had some nice radios, absolutely, Danny Shortwave. They had several really nice radios. My Panasonic RF2800, man, I missed that radio dearly. They were the performance was very good on a lot of the best Panasonics. Yeah, PlayStation 5 coming up. Yarabamba. Nice to have you here. I'm addicted to the heavy solid state tabletop radios of the 80s. And you know, they had a kind of a sexy look to them also. I mean, they were nice. I look at these old radios and I'm like, wow, they were so cool. Simoranman, big problem with Ethon is the case gets sticky after a year or two. Well, it depends on the radio you buy. For example, the Ethon here, Traveler 3 is plastic, no problem. But some models and some Grundig models also. For example, that was the case on my Grundig G5, and those that have followed me might notice that my Grundig G5 looks a lot better than it did when I did some videos. A lot of people were looking at it and saying, oh man, it looks really, really horrible. Yeah, that gooey finish, which was a rubberized finish. I'm just going to take the bottle. This is what I used to clean it up. So I used 70% rubbing alcohol and put it on a cloth. Don't put it on the radio, put it on the cloth, and rub the radio slowly and with a cloth, and you will actually clean it up and remove all the gooey stuff. The good news about it also is that it's removed all the finish, that gooey finish. So now it's kind of plasticky. It won't actually become gooey again after you do it, which is nice. Somebody asked me the other day when I posted a video, aren't you scared it's going to remove the writing and the markings? Well, you know what? I did it on 3 radios, and the markings and the writings are still there. It has removed the gooey finish, but it has not removed the markings. But, you know, that doesn't mean that on some radios you might not remove the markings, so be careful. You might want to try it on just one little corner and see. But this works great. Look, this one is another one here, the Ethon 300 Mini. This one was a very disgusting gooey one too, and look how beautiful it's come now. And this is once again using the 70% rubbing alcohol with a cloth, and works great. Works really, really great. Joey D, my first Radio Shack radio was one I got in '93, SW100, back when I could hear loads of CB action. Simranman says Texan PL380 is a good one. I have a video of it with an outboarded OOP loop on the other Simranman channel. Is it a radio, only a radio related channel, my friend? Because you can share it if you want. But it has to be mostly radio videos. So this is the PL380. This one doesn't have an antenna jack on it, but this is a nice receiver. The PL380 is $40-50-ish. No single sideband, very very sensitive. But today, honestly, I would actually, if I would have a choice, if you'd ask me, would you still recommend the PL380? I wouldn't say no, but I'm getting slightly better performance on the RadioWow R108 that are roughly the same price. Plus the RadioWow 108, well, no, this one has also, but the RadioWow is a general coverage, full coverage receiver. Plus it has airband, so you can listen to airports and airplanes. So, you know, I would go to RadioWow today rather than a Texan PL380. But whatever you buy, a 380 or a RadioWow, you will have an amazing receiver for sure. But the RadioWow kind of wins over the 380 right now. Klaus, nice to have you on board from the Bavaria border. I'm in work to move to my new location, and let me just busy with a long to-do list. We have 3 o'clock in the morning. So best wishes, my friend Klaus. Nice to have you on board from Montreal. It's 9:16 p.m. in the evening here. Gunner66 bought a PL680 a few years ago because of my channel. Enjoy it. It's a very nice receiver. Very nice receiver. I like the bigger, you know, one of the things that surprised me so much when I got the XH data was the size. I thought the XH data would be a size of the PL680, and I'm sure all of you have noticed that over years. You look at an ad of a radio, or you look at an image of a radio on the internet or in a catalog, you have the impression they are bigger than what they are in reality. So when I got this, which is a nice hefty radio, the PL680, I thought the XH data would be as big, but honestly the XH data is much smaller actually. It's a much smaller radio. So, well, not much smaller, but it's a smaller radio. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting a radio of the same size. So I was a little surprised, kind of felt a little small, but still, you know, if I had, once again, a recommendation today, between a PL600, PL660, PL680, or the XH data, well, today I would say pick the XH data. It's the best of the best. And it has so many bandwidths, and it's really, really easy to tune, the fine tuning on single sideband. It's actually better than the Texan PL680 for the tuning. But if you buy a PL680, you're still having a really good radio, honestly. You know, it's very difficult because you gotta. Somebody might say, well, you know, I purchased that. Now you're saying that is better, and that there's always something better, and there's always something that, like, you know, and it all comes down to one very simple thing. It's better to have a radio that you use than a radio that you buy the best of the best and it does nothing because you just leave it on the shelf and it doesn't do anything. You know, what's the use of having a good radio if you aren't going to use it? Honestly. Keegan in Northwest Arkansas, nice to have you here. Rodolfo 65 waiting on his XH Data D808. You're going to have a great time with that radio for sure. Steve, yes, I will type in my, so it's time for that little announcement. PayPal.me/shortwave if you want to share a little something with me in terms of money. or if you go to PayPal, you simply send to the Yahoo email that I'm sending here, and you can send a little something if you want to help me out. It's a great way of helping out, and you know, giving me a little help here. Costs a lot of money to buy to do these things. More internet. I've invested $150 in a new microphone and stand that will have better sound. I'm soon to get possibly a better upgraded camera. So it costs money also to operate this, and I mean, it's fun to be here. I'm just going to do something because I just noticed one little thing here. I was wondering why I looked a little bit in the dark, and just noticed that one of my lights was blocked by a chair. So anyways, if you want to help me out, I'm here all the time. It's much appreciated. There's a lot of people watching right now, so I'm just going to repeat what I said at the beginning of the show. This coming Friday, exceptionally, I will not be live because I have I'll be spending the evening at a restaurant with my nephews, and then we're going to a Alouettes Canadian football Alouette game. So I won't be here. So I won't be able to be live. So this coming Friday, exceptionally, I won't be here. We'll be back to normal next week with, of course, our Wednesday and Friday show. Just a reminder to everybody, we are live twice a week. Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 0 UTC. Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, 20 UTC. And we are to entertain. My name is Joe. We're located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, where it's raining and where we're going to have a lot of rain and a lot of wind in the next 24 hours. Hope you enjoy the shows and that you enjoy the live feed. And thanks for the donations, guys, by the way. And thanks, Mr. Steve. So, yeah, Toshiba. That Toshiba here. And now analog Toshiba. But, you know, I got to say one thing. I kind of like this radio. And what I kind of like, and everybody mentions it every time I do a video, this little analog S meter on this is just so amazing. It's almost like, you know, being hypnotized by the little needle going through when you're listening to a signal on shortwave. So this is an old Toshiba RPF11 portable receiver. And I actually had my W6 LVP loop yesterday hooked to the screws here. And it was actually performing quite nicely. And honestly, on medium wave, it is one of the best that I have. I need to test it out with the XH data. I haven't compared it with the XH data yet. But medium wave, it's a surprising radio, and with the AN200 loop that's at the top there, really cool to tune around. Robert Shine, what about the ICOM PC receivers? You know what? The PC receivers from ICOM are kind of older receivers. They kind of moved on to kind of full receivers that connect to computers. There are some more recent models, but you know, they're very expensive, honestly. And when I look at the performance of something like the RSP1A for the price paid, I have a very hard time telling anyone to get or dish out all of that money for a ICOM PC box. Simmeronman says the Texan BL 380 was the best for AM medium wave DX, coupled to a flag antenna, pulled in Cleveland, Holland on 747 kHz from Colorado. Wow, cool. Cool. Mickey Dalmich, my Emerson ATS 803A was a workhorse for me in my overseas travels in the past. Great radio. So yeah, it's also known as the Sangean ATS 803. That was a very popular model, actually. Adolfo 65, just adding more radios to my collection. That's cool. Look at this vibe. So you mentioned the Texan 680, but is the Texan 660 comparable? I see single sideband reception available. The 680, I believe, is getting hard to purchase. The 660 is the model that is still the model that you see a lot on eBay and everywhere. The Texan 660 is a very good radio. I would say they're probably pretty much the same in performance. Trimble, Mr. Bale. I got an amateur radio swap meet coming up in a couple of weekends where I go look at stuff with an age range of World War II to Pentium 4 days. There's a lot of stuff to look at these Hamfests. R. Walker, I wonder if we'll see sort of hybrid product with a portable based on SDR, which with a USB port and come. That would be nice. That would be interesting to see, honestly. A portable receiver capable of kind of interfacing with a PC for SDR capabilities. Prasad Asaldekar says, after buying the XH Data X808, I now feel that there's no point in buying another without SSB. Oh, that's for sure. If you buy an XH Data D808, you don't, if we talk about just getting one a radio, that is the radio to get, and you don't really need anything else. Absolutely. C. Johnson, nice to have you here. Like my videos with the realistic DX100. Thanks. Hey Matt, nice to have you on board from your work break. Don't work too hard. Gelson Ranuas, nice to have you on board. My friend from Brazil. PageMaster has 3 radios in a hospital now. Need to find out what is wrong with them. What do you do with your radios, PageMaster? Are you hard on your radios? Too hard on your radios? So, thanks guys for the donations. It's much appreciated. Much appreciated, by the way. Roberto Rojas, nice to have you on board from Argentina. ¿Cómo está, mi amigo? Chin chin. Oh, totally, Danny Shortwave. The ReadyWow R108 is truly amazing for the price and what it does. I gotta say, imagine us guys that came from an era of 70s and 80s where radios were pretty expensive. I mean, the cheapest portables back then were often already at or above $100, which, put it in today's money, was very expensive. And look at the DX100 here. Its regular price, if I remember well, was $150 here in Canada. It went on sale regularly at $99, but it was $149, I think. And so at $150 in 1982, it kind of comes to a $300 radio today, for equivalent of money. So you think about that, and I see how crappy that thing is. And you dish out this XH Data that, if you put it in today's money perspective, would have cost less than a DX100. And this thing does so much. So much. It's a small computer radio, It's just incredible. We moved on in technology-wise. That brings us, shortwave radios are an example where you get more bang for the money today. It's where you see that I can afford, and even a lot of people can afford, a decent radio today that they would not have been able to afford in 1980. It's crazy. Trimbali, Mr. Bale, I got some shortwave recordings on my YouTube channel. My videos are about half shortwave, half flight sim games. Okay. You know, if you want to share, it's all right. You can share your channel. $1.65, RadioWow is on my collection. Great radio to use on the expeditions. And by the way, if you guys want to share a content, you have a channel. Okay, I'll post my email here. Official Shortwave Radio at gmail.com. That email, if you have a YouTube channel that's dedicated mostly to radio, okay, send me a link. I'll check it out and I'll actually make a video and post the link and talk about your channel to help promote your channel. One of the things I want to say here is that this is not a competition. You know, I have enough of competition around everything that one of the things I don't want on the shortwave channel here is having to think that I'm in a competition of some sort with anybody else. I'm not. We are all here to have fun. We are all here to have and enjoy great radio-related content. You got a channel, and I didn't talk about your channel, mostly dedicated to radio. Let me know. I will be happy to share. The more we know about other channels, the more fun we have. I watch other YouTube channels all the time. I unfortunately don't comment very often on content, and probably should more, because I go watch a lot of you guys' YouTube channels. It's just that I don't comment. I will like, very often I will like the videos, but I will not necessarily take the time to comment, which I should probably, because maybe you'd be happy to see that I watch your videos. But I watch a lot of your videos, honestly. And I mean, there are other channels out there that are kind of competition, and they rant about other channels, you know. I got a few that rant about my channel, and you're like, why are you doing this? This is a place to have fun, not a competition. You know, if you're not happy because you don't have views, well, maybe look at what you're doing. You know, look at your content and the way you do it. That's it, you know. This channel has increased, to give you guys an idea, my views on this channel have increased about 35% month after month. So just think about it. 35% more. This afternoon I was looking at a channel at 30, I think it was 37% more views this month than the month before. And the month before I had like 30% more views than the month before. So it's really increasing at a fast pace. But I've been increasing also the output of videos and diversity of the videos, trying to kind of think of new and content. And by the way, I want to thank everybody, because this week on the, so every Monday this will be a new feature. I will give a hint of the types of videos I'll post during the week. It doesn't mean I will do all of them, because it depends on time. But I asked this week of suggestions of what you guys would like to have as videos that maybe I didn't do, anything that you would like to see. And a lot of you responded in the comments about what you would like me to see, and I kept all of those comments, because in moments where I'm sitting down and I'm in front of the computer and the radios and I don't really know what content to do in a day, I will go through these comments and say, oh, okay, yeah, video doing this and that, comparing this, comparing that. And I've got a lot coming up. I haven't forgotten, by the way, for the XH data versus G5, that's coming up. Like I said, it's always a question of time. Walk in the park, I really would like to. Didn't have a lot of time. It's crazy. If you guys would see my schedule and all the things that I do, you would actually wonder how I have time to do live shows like this. So, you know, and tomorrow it's raining outside, so forget it. Tomorrow we'll probably do some, with the antenna switch, do some battle of the loops, a little more battle of the loops and stuff like that. So, and thanks guys for also being great fans, because you guys are enjoying the content and really have been amazing in the response for everything. So thanks for being great fans, and don't forget, if you want to send me a link to your YouTube channel, I'll be very happy to promote it. Everybody that I've promoted got a certain number of new viewers and subscribers, and that's what I want, and that's what I want to do. And of course, don't be shy, even if you have 20 videos. Just one thing, because I got a rant from one guy once, and I didn't talk about his channel, and I told him in a comment, I can't, because you have extremist content in videos. So, you know, you would have like 20 cool videos of radio. Then you would have some political extremist stuff. And that I cannot allow. No political content, no religious content. I will never allow that type of content. But even if your radio videos are mixed with other stuff, you know, like 10 radio videos, and then you're out with your kids or something and you're filming something, it's okay. All I want is that it's mostly devoted to radio, and I'll be happy to share. Redolphin65, Radio Hours in his collection, great radio on the expeditions. Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice. Danny Shortwave, Radio R108, everyday radio when I go to bed. You know what? I'm going to do something tonight with the Radio Hour. I'm going to use it with the AN200 loop, and I think later tonight, while just relaxing, I'll tune in the medium wave band with that. Randy in Riverside, California, nice to have you here. Matt says there are a lot of comparison videos being between receivers which helps these days. Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Zachary Antle, nice to have you here. No problem. Thanks for the nice comments. Brent says, I'm still adjusting to the XH Data D808. I'm more comfortable with the Texan PL660 at the moment. The XH Data D808 has a little more bells and whistles. The Texan PL660 is more of a straightforward, you know, general PLL receiver. And if you've owned any other radios in the past with, you know, digital readout, the Texan PL660 is a rather straightforward radio to understand. The XH Data D808, because of its chip and the way that it's actually processing stuff, just to give you guys an idea, and you'll see what I mean. So, say that I'm on the, so this, right now I just put myself in AM mode. So it says normal in the display, but I will press the single sideband button and look how it reacts. For those that have never seen it, you'll see these little arrows as if it's a computer setting up single sideband mode. Look at that. There we go. Now we're on lower sideband, SSB, a lower sideband. So it's kind of weird the way that it does that. It's kind of feels a little like a computer has taken control of the radio, if you want. So you gotta you know, maybe I should do videos on the operation of the D808. You know, you make me think how to, you know, one of the, look, I use radios all the time, and, you know, I'm a guy, and what does the guy do? He doesn't read the manual. He turns on the radio when he gets it out of the box. He reads the manual a month later. And one of the simplest little things was, how do I switch from lower to upper sideband on this thing? And that's where I noticed that the info button that is just below it was the switch between upper and lower sideband, for example. Of course, the display has different information. You have the temperature, you got the clocks, the alarms, You've got the signal to noise ratio signal indicator. There's so many things in here. There's the bandwidth, the AM and the bandwidth. So if you look at the different bandwidths when you press, so 1.2 kilohertz, 1 kilohertz, 500 hertz, which is great if you're listening to CW signals. And back up to 4 kilohertz. This is in single sideband mode. So maybe I should actually do a set of videos explaining the D808. Explaining how to use the memory channels, the memory pages in it if you want. Maybe that would be something that a lot of you would enjoy. Kind of an online video manual if you want. So, you know. Jeff Barrett, the Digitech AR1780 is very similar to the XH Data D808. Yes, they do look so similar that I'm almost wondering if they're the same one or not. R. Walker, I just got into shortwave listening this year, but I have heard we're in one of the worst times to listen due to low sunspot activity. How much better is it when sunspot activity is high? Okay, no, we're not gonna put it like that, okay? Because I mean, I went through several sort of cycles. Some of the best DX I've ever had were in downturns, the bottom of the cycle. So here's the thing. What changes is higher frequencies propagate more. So we're missing out on the daytime on some of the high frequencies. Signals could be better if the activity was higher. But no, we're not, you know, the fact that we're in low solar activity is not making it the worst times ever to listen to shortwave. There's a lot of stuff out there. I am listening to shortwave, listened yesterday, listened today. There's tons of things out there. I hear this all the time, and I hear ham radio operators ranting all the time. You know, instead of ranting of the solar activity, turn on the radio and tune around. And it's just different. Are you missing out on stuff? You might be missing out on, you know, the 10-meter band being open, or even 15 meters. You might be missing out on maybe some of the signals on higher frequencies sometimes that might make it in high solar activity but not in low. But overall, we're not really missing that much in low and high. It's just it changes the thing. Sometimes it's a little more crappy in the long nights of winter, but there's tons of things to listen to, honestly. William Moser, nice to have you here, says, I think the Texan 660, I would guess, is way better, but I'm getting more into the Texan 9700 DX. Really like that radio. Cool. Yes, I did get a haircut, Zach. Absolutely. Yarabamba, it's going to be a boring Friday without Joe. It happens from time to time. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff to listen to, and don't let the low solar activity kind of, you know, bum you out on shortwave listening. Our Star Project, nice to have you here. Prasad Asaldekar. Digitech Audio 1780 is the 808 in a different cabinet, but I understand it came before the XH Data. Okay, so it might be the same radio, actually. It's just a different cabinet, because when I did look closely at pictures of the Digitech 1780, and boy, I had the impression they were the same thing. Really had the impression they were the same thing. Okay, let's go down and try to get a little more in the closer to the reality of the chat room. I'm 15 minutes behind by the way, guys. Almost 20 minutes. John McClure, nice to have you here. Michael Hargis, nice to have you here. Not a ham, but very interested. Had scanners since I was a kid. Cool, well, nice to have you here, Michael. Meow, Mr. Paul. Yeah, he's in the living room, I believe. Secretary's Vibes, this is already good insight. Cheers, thank you. Thomas T, nice to have you here. Which antenna to look at for travel backpack pocket? Well, look, if you are going to set up in the middle of nowhere with low noise, Thomas, the thing to understand is that a piece of wire is the best antenna. Having 50 feet of wire in your backpack is your best friend. And that's very pocket, and that's very easy to deploy and to remove. That said, if you have a nice backpack, the MLA30 loop would actually be a very nice travel antenna, honestly. Pretty surprising. The only thing, you'll need a little battery pack to operate the antenna, but the more and more I could easily see my next Perry Island DXpedition that unless the weather really gets better, will maybe be only next year, will involve bringing a MLA30 with me rather than a long wire. Danny, shortwave radio DX Texan PL660 is very good. Won't go wrong with it. However, at that price point, I would go with the XH data. I would go totally with the XH data, the 808. I totally agree with Danny Shortwave on this one. But if you have the PL660, it's going to be great, honestly. Com Radio CR1A, manufactured in USA, full portable SDR. Yeah, it has some kind of SDR capabilities. That's true. That's true. Matambale, nice to have you on board from Colorado. What else do we have? Yeah, no show Fridays, unfortunately. But, we'll be back to normal next week. Take care, Matt. Rob, nice to have you on board, my friend. No, William Moser, I've not tested the Texan 9700 DX. It looks nice. That's the analog one, eh? It's kind of the, it says it's kind of the eye sensitivity analog radio or something, eh? Oh, totally true, R. Walker. In the 80s or 90s, the capabilities of an average SDR. Look at the first, you guys remember the first PC radios that came in cards that would actually install in the ISA bus of a PC, and then came the PCI ones. They were, so for those that had desktop PCs in the early 90s, we had slots in our desktop where we would put cards. So you had a sound card, a graphics card. Well, you could buy a radio on a card, and those would cost $1,000. It would be like $1,000+. And you had to install it in your desktop computer. I'd be curious to see one of those old ISA, radios in a like an old 386 or 486 machine. How it would perform today compared to what we have, and those were expensive, like they're $1,000. Robert Shine, my thought and worry is shortwave is going to die like broadcasting AM here in the States. Broadcast radio is a media in flux and is not on demand. Most people don't pay attention other than us fans. You got to be careful with that way of thinking, Robert, because there's a lot of things going on, but at different parts of the world. Shortwave is still going to be here in 50 years. There's still going to be some stations on the air. And that I'm convinced, for a simple reason. There's always a part of the world that's kind of in turmoil, and that the only way that you can get all sorts of information across easily without being censored or blocked is shortwave radio. And every time something happens, some of these big gun, like the BBC World Service, even Voice of America, they often increase their output of shortwave. I was reading an article this week. Vanuatu in the Pacific Ocean has pledged to increase its shortwave output because of the demise of Radio Australia there needs to be more shortwave in the Pacific. So it gives you an idea. Some areas of the world are still and will still for a long time be dependent on shortwave. And think about it. If you tune in any SDR receivers, go to sdr.hu and tune any SDR receivers from Asia, and you'll see that the shortwave bands in Asia are what the shortwave bands used to be here in the 70s and 80s in North America. It's just there's a shift. There's really a shift in where transmissions are going, basically. Okay, what else do we have? WS7i, feel free to check out my channel, guys. Just a few videos, mostly ham and ham electronic projects. That's cool. That's cool. I think you sent me your channel, right? Did I see this? So yeah, I got 3 YouTube channels to check out. So I will check it out, guys, and we'll be happy. We'll be very happy to help promote your content for sure. James Farley, nice to have you here. Just think how well these radios will work in 3 years. Most receivers that I have here, portables. I mean, look at this. The PL680 is at least 5 years old now. At least. The XH data now is what? Roughly a year old. I've got some Texan receivers from a long time, 6, 7, 8 years. I look at pictures and am surprised to see that some of the radios I've got, portable receivers I've got, are actually older than I thought. And most of them hold through time. Most of them work great 5 years later. So, kind of cool. That I will be doing more of, Klaus. Band scans with comments of what signals are heard. I want to do a lot more of that for sure. Cimarron Munn says, antenna comparison radios are very cool. Keep doing them. I will, and now that I got a switch, it's going to be even better. Rufus New, do I need external antennas with these portables? You know what? If you live in a quiet environment, the telescopic antenna that comes with them already give you pretty good reception, okay? But that said, having an outdoor antenna does help and does improve reception. But it's not a must. These radios are so sensitive that on their own they're already pretty good, honestly. Yeah, it does have a few quirks, absolutely, Danny Shortwave DXH data. Trimbali, Mr. Bale says, AM sync mode on SSB is activated when SSB is pressed on the XH data D08. Okay. Trimbali, Mr. Bell, the only manual I read involving a shortwave radio was the schematics for my DX440. Brent says, thanks for the explanation of D808. Guess the older I get, the longer it takes me to learn few things. Yeah, but you know, the D808 is a complex radio, honestly. It does have a lot of stuff in there. And you know, when radios start having more than one function for one button, it really gets difficult to go through. I think I will do that. Rodolfo65 that's a great idea. Online tutorial of XH data. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good idea. Rob says yes, please. Enjoy it. I would enjoy online video manual. Cool. WF7I, I agree. Would like to see some info on operating the D808. You know, just a simple. Look at a simple example. The D808. So when you go on FM, for example, when you go on FM, there's several different ways you can display the RDS from FM stations. And you need to know how to switch between each info, each kind of channel if you want, you know. No problem, Keegan. Let's check it out. Why am I here? Or why I am here. Rob says hopefully a nice day soon so we can do an outdoor show before the snow comes. This is the time, you know, mid-October, it's the time where sometimes we get one last push of warm weather where we reach the, you know, lower 20 Celsius or 70s one last time before it actually snows. So if that does happen, I will, of course, try to do a last show from outdoor before the winter. What else do we have? Let's go down, let's go down. So Brent says, yes, a YouTube manual by you would be great. Thanks for considering that. I totally will. I'll try to take as much time as I can to do that. You know, a lot of people are asking me, you know, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos online about it, but I would like you to explain to me some of the stuff of operating SDR Uno and the RSB1A. And that I need to do also. Rufus Newt, agree with Jill, can always find something. PageMaster always tune radios regardless of sunspot cycle. You gotta. Well, to give you an idea, Trimbali, Mr. Bale, is that that station, the Moscow Time Signal, RWM, which is just besides WWV. I heard it a month ago. I think I heard it on 9996. Take care, Rodolfo65. Have a great day tomorrow, my friend. Take care, Circuitous Vibes. It's nice to have you here. Page Master. The greatest tip for any amateur radio operator is to come to broadcast on radio is to say CQ. Absolutely. I think not enough people do that. Kevin Wood, been enjoying Voice of the Report of the Week via WRMI. Yeah, it's a nice broadcast. I gotta say, Voice of the Report of the Week is a very interesting broadcast. You know what? I find it to be like the equivalent on radio broadcast of my live shortwave shows. He comes here from time to time, says hi to everybody in the chat room. I do listen. I should write to him to let him know that I listen in regularly. What else do we have? Let's go down. Trying not to stay too far behind. Trimbali, Mr. Bale, I'm gonna enjoy Radio China International here in about 75 minutes. Near West USA, Portland, Oregon, Radio China. 9790 is from, I think it's from the Cuba Relay, Trimbali. Let me just confirm that. I will tell you exactly where it is from. But I think 9790 is from Cuba. We'll see if my memory serves me right. So China Radio International, yep, 0304 in English, and it's from Cuba. So you're receiving it from Cuba. I'm sorry if I just broke your bubble of receiving it from China, but this one is from Cuba, my friend. Latam Valley still has his DX440, respectable. weight with all the batteries in it. Yeah, those older radios with like C batteries or D batteries, they would be much heavier. Mark Brando, nice to have you here. Jan de Jong, nice to have you here. Do not forget my internet radio, 10,000s of stations in a very high quality. Yeah, but it's not the same thing at all. What you're listening there is not the same thing at all. This internet radio and what shortwave is aren't the same thing at all. So you can't compare this. And I'm happy if you like internet radio. I got a $250 Sangean WFR20 right here. Here, you guys want to see what an internet radio looks like? I'm going to show you. I got it, and I never use it. I should. Honestly, I should. Oh, there's too much stuff over it. But I will. Anyways, I should show it one time. I probably showed it in a video at one point. I've had that, owned that for what, 4 years at least. I rarely turn it on. Rarely turn it on. Jean-Marc Klitz, nice to have you here. Found on an Amazon product details that the XH Data D808 includes TV. No, it doesn't include TV. It includes the airband. It includes the airband. Harvey Codling, nice to have you here. Fast load, yeah, absolutely. Fast load, just put the link. I got no problem with that. Anything radio related, if you guys have a PDF, a manual, or some sort of anything that's radio related, just no problem in sharing links. Got no problem with that. Kevin Wood says, got a nice email from John in reply to Signal Report just the other day. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's really a great guy, honestly. Thank you. Really nice. Trimbali, Mr. Bale, Cuba was my second guest, 9790, but could never tell. Been trying to figure it out for months. You know, one of the things, especially here in North America, one of the ways sometimes it's easy to make a difference between a signal coming from China and coming from, say, Cuba, is in the stability of the propagation. Signals coming from China or from Asia often have a lot more and faster feeding in them. So if you see a signal fade really fast, then you might start thinking, oh, okay, this might be from China direct. From Cuba, it's much more stable. Coaster 2301 Productions, nice to have you here. Frank C., nice to have you on board. That's the thing, R. Walker. Most shortwave broadcast stations do not broadcast on the internet, and that's the thing. A lot of people are saying, you know, why don't we listen on internet radio? Most internet, so there are some internet broadcasters that do broadcast on the shortwave broadcasters that do broadcast via internet, but a lot don't. And most of every station, because people think, well, the internet is there, so stations leave shortwave because they're on the internet. Well, 90% of all the shortwave stations that left shortwave never were on the internet, or if they were on the internet, they weren't there for very long. Take care, Danny Shortwave. Always nice to have you here. So, no, it's not the same thing. You can't compare. You can't compare. Jean-Marc Letts, the 808 includes the air band above the FM band. I might buy this radio to be able to listen to local airplane, as I did with the tiny portable radio that had this band, but it broken. Yeah, it's actually a nice performer on the air band. So you'll be able to listen to long wave, medium wave, short wave, full coverage, general coverage, and with single sideband. And you have the air band and the FM band. So it's a really complete package. So if you have an airport near you, Jean-Marc, it's great. It's great it's a great radio for that. Hey, Keegan is back. Nice to have you here. David, Gris, nice to have you here. What is the portable on the shelf to your right? So the portable here is a Patrolman Shortwave 60 or SW60, which was made by Radio Shack in the early 80s. It's a multi-band radio that has AM, FM, has shortwave 6 to 18 megahertz, VHF low 30 to 50 megahertz, VHF high 108 to 174, and UHF 450 to 512 megahertz. You know, Coaster 2301 Productions, just create something and put yourself on the internet if you wish to do some kind of internet radio station. You know, you don't need that much of equipment today to really sound professional. And, you know, it's mostly time, much more time than anything else. It's easy to sound good and just be on the internet and do some content. Rufus Newt, the wire hanging out of my window is the window to Warlad. Jim Valley hairband, no, airband VHF. We're talking of airband from 108 to from 118, sorry, to 136 megahertz. 1.090 gigahertz is the ADSB frequency, like Fastload says. I've dabbled a few times with, just for the fun of it, with using the, I think the dongle's here somewhere. I've been using, so here, this little RTL dongle plugged into my phone with an adapter, and with the little antenna that comes with it, listening to actually decoding the ADSB signals with software on Android called Avari ADSB, and that coupled with shows you actually the planes so the signal on 1.090 gigahertz or 1090 megahertz actually pinpoints the planes on the map on your Android phone or tablet. It's actually kind of cool. I haven't done it in a long time. I need to do it again. Maybe do a few videos with that on the VHF UHF channel. John Barker says, does the Christmas lights hanging around your radios give you interference? I move as much electrical equipment away from radio and wasting my time doing that. Look, these are incandescent bulbs, okay? These, whether they're on or not, I see absolutely no difference. But be careful, because these are the incandescent ones. And I favor those for that reason. If you have LED Christmas lights, that could be a different thing. For example, in my Christmas tree, I got some LED lights that have all these patterns of flashing. Well, those actually do create interference. So when I plug in the Christmas tree, I can actually tell you what pattern is playing on the set of lights just by the type of interference it does in the radio. So some do, but the old bulbs like these that are incandescent bulbs with a little filament, these usually don't create any interference. ZRFKN, which radio is behind the XH data? So behind the XH data, so here, let's do a little tour so you guys will see all the radios, okay? XH data, D808. We have a Texan PL 380. We got a Radio Shack DX 398, aka Sangean ATS 909, the original version. Then Tibio V115 receiver. The RadioWow R108. The Ethon Mini 300 World Band receiver. You have the PL680 from Texan. Here in the back is an old American 5-tube Admiral dual speaker 60s tube radio. Here is the Grenic G5, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, portable of all times. I gotta say the XH data is giving a hard time to this one. The Toshiba RPF11 analog. This is a emergency Texan JR168 analog radio, AM/FM shortwave. We've got the Ethon Grenic edition, Ethon Mini Grenic edition, and we've got the Ethon, the Ethon Traveler 3 Grenic edition. On the top shelf, what you have here is the Grundig satellite transistor 6001, which is also the satellite Grenic satellite 210. The TRC 432 Navajo base station. The Realistic DX 100, sorry. That's my first radio ever. The Patrolman SW60 multiband portable, and the rest is there's a Midland weather radio, and there's a Panasonic boombox, AM/FM boombox. It does not have shortwave, and it's only there because I want to play cassettes. Yeah, I'll have to try that Inmarsat on 1575 megahertz. This one, the dongle, I think it is. I got two. I got a blue one, and I think this one is the one you gave me, and I've got a blue one also that I had purchased. But yeah, I think this one is the one you gave me, Fastload. This is the one I use on my Android phone with ADSB. You know, it's mostly for fun, just having fun. Keegan heard WABC New York 770 on Sunday. Oh wow, nice. That's a pretty good distance. Yeah, why not Coaster 2301? Going into some broadcast stuff. Could be cool. What else do we have? Kevin Wood says, I host an ADSB receiver for Flight Radar 24. Cool. That's cool. I think it uses Flight Radar 24 actually. DDog845, I've never had a shortwave radio, but I'm interested in getting one. Well, look at the videos on the channel here and learn more. There's a lot of really nice stuff, and the only problem with shortwave that we have to live through is noise, depending on where you live. Being an apartment dweller, or you have your home, or do you have you in a low noise environment, and sometimes that is a sad part in our radio hobby. Well, it's a small fly that's driving me nuts for the past 30 minutes. Midland Weather Radio is that. It's the it's this one here. It's the Weather Monitor 74-109. And so it is always here. It's always in working condition here with the power supply and everything. So that's the fast load. That's the one. That's also a fast load to give me that one. Gunner 66. I hear that I have a plasma TV. It produces so much noise I can hardly receive anything from 30 feet away. Plasma TVs are the worst for noise on shortwave. I am lucky. My Toshiba 50-inch flat screen TV creates very little noise. Very little noise. Okay, Fastlane. We got to meet up soon. I'm kind of stressed out and have too many things going together. I'm going nuts. Frank C., which small portable radio do you like the best out of your collection? Take care, Fastlane. Have a good night. So if I had the choice to my favorite portable, I gotta say the XH Data is right now my winner. It's not too big. It's a nice little pocket radio. If you want to have cheaper and don't mind not having SSB, I think the RadioWow R108 is a big winner right now also. These are great, but you know, there's a lot of great radios out there for sure. Joe Sombrio Newhouse says, my TV has the same issue. If I turn it on, the amount of noise stops me from doing shortwave. Yeah. Unfortunately, we all have these equipments out there that that do noise. William Moser, on one of your shows, you were listening to a Marine Band station. Can you get the station with most radios? I believe that was, I don't know what station you're referring to. If you're referring to weather, a single sideband shortwave receiver, yes. If you're referring to more of the VHF marine stuff, I would guess any, you know, scanner radio, probably, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they do sometimes, but man, plasma TVs were so noisy. Oh really, Joe Sombra, yours. What brand of your TV, Joe Sombra, Newhouse? My Toshiba is very quiet. My Toshiba is really quiet on that front. Oh, it's 2749 kilohertz. Well, yeah, every radio with single sideband that goes down below 3 megahertz, because it's not every radio, usually get it. But it's a difficult one, you know, when you go low in frequencies like that, it's very difficult to actually get these stations. Let's try it just for the fun of it, see if I can hear it right now. So 2749. So 2749. Yep. So this is 2749 with the MLA30 loop. So this is Nova Scotia 2749 weather, but I'm using the loop. With the telescopic, I wouldn't hear it here at all, and probably not hear it or almost barely notice it, honestly. Hey Mike, Anna 261, I say have you here? Yeah, power outages, Gunner 66 are amazing for that for sure. Coaster 2301, if you can pick up a Radio Shack 12996, a surprisingly great reception for a weather radio with AM FM. Cool. You know, Gunner 66, I remember a big power outage and having a couple of friends of mine saying, "Oh, bummer, it's so boring, there's no power." And I'm the only one that I realize I'm the only one having fun because there's no noise and I'm tuning the bands and hearing stuff that I haven't heard in a long time. And all I'm thinking, being a little selfish at that moment, is please the power don't come back before later today. Well, everybody else is just like, well, it's boring, there's no power. Keisha Escapes says, got 2749 here on West Coast this morning with the MLA 30 after seeing your vid. It was really weak, but I could barely hear the voice. Wow, nice. This is nice. That's a good one. From the West Coast, it's a good one. Really nice. KC1HOX, nice to have you on board, Glenn. Frank C, how's the loop antenna compare to wire antenna? The loop will usually perform better if you have a lot of noise. So here, for example, Frank, I've got my 80-foot sloper in the backyard, and I've got my loops in the back and the front. And to give you an idea, if this would be my sloper, you would notice something's there. You would hear something, but it would be washed out in the noise. Where here you can actually understand what she's saying. It's really much better. To give you an idea, another example. So this 3413, which is Shannon Volmit in Ireland, which is coming in 3413. Let's see if the gang on. Let's check if the gang on 160 meters is there. Yeah, look at that. That's 1850 on 160 meter band. So look how clear 160 meters comes in.
And I guess you got a high number there? Yeah, that's 9 that you told me. I'll turn it down to 2.
So that's 1850 lower sideband. So on the sloper, I hear them. So a sloper is like a long wire. Okay? I hear them. Not as clear as that. There's a lot of noise. And some of the weaker stations I'm not here on the sloper, but I would hear on the loop. Now remove the noise. Say you live in the middle of the forest. Well, I would think that a long wire antenna probably outperforms a loop because of the length of the wire. I would think it would outperform a loop. But, you know, we would need to have some tests in zero noise environments and check them out. That'd be nice. Joseph, do they ever broadcast sports on shortwave? Radio Exterior de España does broadcast European football or soccer. Here in North America, we call that soccer, but in Europe they call it football. So there is retransmissions of that. I think Brazil, Radio Nacional Amazonas 11780 sometimes broadcasts some sports also. But if you're talking about North American sports, baseball, American football, stuff like that, basketball, the only station that really broadcasts sports was the American Forces Network a long time ago. Really, there's not a lot of that still happening now. I haven't heard AFN shortwave. Is there still an AFN or a American Forces Network shortwave outlet that exists? Oh, BBC. Yeah, BBC does some coverage. It's true. The BBC does have some coverage on the weekends. That's true. Coaster 2301 Productions. To anyone with the XH Data D808 or C-Crane Skywave SSB, which one has the better SSB reception? That is a good question. Honestly, I'd like to own a C-Crane Skywave, because a lot of people have that. I just find it a little expensive to purchase, but maybe I should dish out the money and test it out myself. I know a lot of people enjoy my tests, but that'd be interesting to compare. SSB on the single sideband on the XH Data is super easy and super fun to tune to, honestly. Trimbali, Mr. Bale. Ray Lyle, nice to have you here. WA9211SWL in Southern Illinois. Trimbali, do 2.5 and 3330. So 2.5, it's a little early for that, but let's check it out. 2500. I've got no real traces of anything on 2500. And 33300 is extremely weak tonight. I usually hear it better than that. So there must be some disturbance in propagation, for sure. Let's try 5000. So WWV 5000 is coming in. Let's try 10,000. Nope, 5000 is the only frequency I'm hearing WWV actually. So gives you an idea here of conditions are not necessarily top shape tonight. Coaster 2301, the wire antenna that came with the radio wire antenna has been giving me a ton of Madagascar stations, which is nice here in San Diego. Yeah, it's surprising. The wire that comes with the I got one near is surprisingly good. Absolutely. I have had some really nice reception with that wire. It's really cool that they give it. So Trimbali 11780 is Radio Nacional Amazonas in Brazil. I don't know if it's coming right now here. Yeah, it's not super strong, but it's here. But this is Brazil. It's there all evening here in North America. It's an easy target, 11780 from Brazil. Wow, good reception. HCJB in Quito, Ecuador. 6050. HCJB, Quito, Ecuador. That's HCJB. The only frequency left of HCJB in Quito, Ecuador. The only frequency direct from Ecuador. It's coming in really well tonight. I wonder if they still QSL. Anything else? 6185. Educación in Mexico, but it's not very strong. So 6050 is surprisingly good tonight from Quito, Ecuador. It's nice. Sometimes they have that Ecuadorian music. It puts me back into times of HCJB. The longest wire possible, Frank. When you live in a place where you can put as long as you can, just put the longest piece of wire you can. The longer the better is pretty much what you're going to say. Joe Sombra News heard the radio Amazonia for the first time yesterday when I was listening web SDR from US outside web. I never received this radio. Yeah, it skips over you probably in Brazil. Okay, Kishasuke, Diego Garcia, and that's in the Indian Ocean, right? That'd be a nice DX target. Mickey Dalmage, miss listening to Australia Rules Football on Radio Australia. I miss Radio Australia, just Radio Australia. I mean, wow. It's crazy. Yes, Jerry DX, I need to go to Perry Island with the ML830, that's for sure. Absolutely, and test with wire, and do the kind of test together. Yeah, Semaranman. I do have a 9-1 Balun type transformer, and it's still very noisy here. Coaster 2021 went out to the East Coast over the past 2 weeks. The amount of European stations was crazy. Propagation was quite good in the past couple of days, I got to say. Can I get 93.95? This time of year, this is the frequency where I got nothing. 93.95.
Simferopol to Moscow for consideration.
7780 is really good though.
On November 9th, 2016, the FSB detained Ukrainian citizens.
This is Radio Ukraine via WRMI
calling
770.
them members of a subversive terrorist group of the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. Dmitro Shtiblikov, Alexei Bessarabov, and Volodymyr Dudka were charged.
So Radio Ukraine 7780 via WRMI. Yeah, 6000 is Cuba. Usually distorted. Oh man, Cimarronman, yeah, HCJB 9745 DX party line. I remember 15155 in the summertime. Also, oh man. Ray Lyle, 49 meter band is loaded with signals tonight here. 60 meters not bad, 30 meters starting to fade. Yeah, Arena Nacional Venezuela. I miss a lot of the tropical band South Americans, like Ecos del Torbis from Venezuela was a strong one. Radio Relo from Costa Rica on 4832, I think. That was an interesting one. Yes, I do get beacons. I get the local beacons, like if I go on long wave, let's go on long wave. I'll just go here. Let's try it here. Or I don't even need this one. Let's try it with another one just for the fun of it. Let's go with this one. Let's check out with the Grandic G5. It's a loop that's used anyways. 248. Here we go. And this is 248 kilohertz. This is from my local airport here in Montreal. So it gives you an idea that, yep, there are some stations out there. Hey, J169, nice to have you here. Brent's got a HCJB QSL from 76. I got almost every series from about 1983 to 1989. They used to issue a QSL every 2 months, and they had an all series, 6 QSL per year. I enjoyed that. My first QSL from HCJB is 1983, and that year was the International Year of Telecommunications. So all of them were related, radio related that year, which was nice. Our Walker can get the U.S. Navy Submarine Station 24.8 kilohertz. Wow, cool. Rick Satter, yes, I'm out of beer. And this is what I have left. Hey, Dirty Diaper 21, nice to have you here. Keisha Escape says, I was listening to Supreme Master TV on Shortwave since I heard you mention it a few times. I thought it was just another Jesus program, but I heard weird things. Is this a cult? It's probably some kind of a cult. Honestly, it's, you know what? It reminds me of one thing for you guys that listened to Shortwave for a while. You guys remember of a Japanese cult called the Shinrikyo? They were the cult that the crazy guy, Shoko Asahara, I think it was called, would had actually put the sarin gas attack in the Tokyo subway. I actually got a QSL card from that Shortwave station. They were on Shortwave. And you know what? Supreme Master TV, I have the same feel of some kind of crazy group that from that Shon Inrikyo Japanese cult. It's very weird. You know, they seem very peaceful. They talk about you know, being vegetarian and saving the planet, and that also was some of the things that were said on that Japanese cult thing. It is very weird, honestly, very weird. I've not heard World's Last Chance stuff with the WBCQ 9330, but the I saw a post that yesterday or the day before, 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, they were testing on 11720 with WBCQ. 11720. So I don't know. I'll be checking that out for sure. YouTube QSL. No, I've never heard that. Radio El Mundo from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Nope. The one that I missed, that I loved listening, was, we talked about it, I think it was last time, the Radio Nacional do Brasil. that had English language broadcast in the evening. Man, there was. By the way, RAE Argentina. Talking about that, last Saturday evening, there was a spotlight on AWR Wavescan about RAE Argentina. And it was very interesting because right now you can listen to Radio Argentina al Exterior in French, in English, in Spanish, and I think Portuguese via WRMI at different times. And they were talking about their transmitter site because the transmitter's been broken. And they were saying that they're still trying to fix them. So maybe at some point they'll be back via their transmitter site over there. Matambali 6105 NHK Radio Japan. That's always good. This is from France. It's from the Usudun transmitter site in France. Joey D, yeah, the Screaming Preacher. He is still around, the Screaming Preacher. I think I heard him yesterday. I think I heard him yesterday. Jill without beer is scary. Yeah, Ray Lyle, I heard the French language Radio for Peace International the other day. I think I posted a video about it. Radio for Peace International, it's via WRMI. But I'm not sure it's the same RFPI that, used to be in Costa Rica. It looks like some kind of new group. But I heard the French language the other day on, I think it was on 93, 95 kilohertz. Shortwave. Wow, Mickey Dalmage is getting stationed in Taiwan on 14850. Crazy. We're not getting any of that here in the East Coast. I'll try it, but I don't think this is coming in. I'm going to try it with the SDR. So 14850. Just see if there's a trace of anything in the... Nope, not even a peep here on the East Coast. Lucky guy on the West Coast. So, hey guys, hope you enjoyed tonight's show. We're gonna sign off because I don't want to hear I hear the neighbors, so the neighbors hear me, and I talk loud when I do the live show. So it's 10:40 p.m. So I don't want to have a complaint. So I don't want to go to, if it wouldn't be for that, I would probably continue. Maybe I should use a headset and talk softly. But I want to say thanks everybody for being here. Don't forget Friday, exceptionally, there's no show. I won't be here Friday. I'm going to a restaurant with my nephews. Then we're going to a Alouette Canadian football game. So I won't be here Friday, exceptionally. We'll be back to the normal schedule next week. So thanks everybody. Thanks for the donations, guys. I saw a few donations come in, and thank you so much. You're much appreciated. And I will Keisha Escape. I promise I will. Going to the park with the CondyCon. Absolutely. And even different parks. I'm going to try to. I want to get in shape, so I'm going to do more walks and jogging. So I'll bring the radio with me and stop at a few places. So take care, guys. Thanks for being great fans once again. Thanks for the donations for everybody. So see you next Wednesday, which will be the next show, Wednesday, October 23. So Wednesday, October 23rd. And hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Stay safe, my friends. Always nice to be here. AFX Mark 8, nice to have you here. Take care, and love you all. It's always fun to be here. Dr. Sisop, take care, my friend. Stay safe. Bye-bye.